Diane Morton-Gattullo, and welcome to another edition of Warehouse 34. And today, I have a great guest. And you know all of my guests are a lot of fun. But this is somebody from my hometown, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, which you know how much I love Brooklyn. Sorry, Staten Island, you guys are still great, but I love Bay Ridge, and I love Brooklyn. And this is my friend, George.
Hi. Oh, it's me.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was somebody big the way you were talking.
No, it's you.
Okay.
It's you.
Hey,
You're huge because you're from Bay Ridge.
Yes.
That's it.
The
That's
only
it.
place to come from.
That's right. So, George, tell everybody your name.
Well, my name is George Pettignano, and I do various things.
Well, you're from Brooklyn.
Yes,
Things
I
are
do.
our specialty.
Yes, it is. I thank you for asking me to come on the show. Hello, everybody. There you are over there. I just had to make sure the camera's is good. But I'm an entertainer. I sing. I do a lot of different things. I've had a career in Brooklyn, ever since I was 17 years old. Out of Fort Hamilton High School, out of your alma mater. And on the fast track.
It's so weird that nobody knows me from Fort Hamilton. They know me from Adelphi Academy, which I was cordially invited to leave.
Yeah.
Between 11th and 12th grade. And
they did that a lot, them nuns.
Actually, I went to a non-sectarian private school, and so it's like at the time it was like the level of Poly. Poly was all boys.
Right.
And I graduated Visitation Academy, and I didn't want to go to Fontbonne.
Right.
I didn't want to go to Bishop Kearney. I didn't want to go through that again. So, and my sister went to Packer Collegiate Institute on Gerolman Street. And when I applied, I think I got a very nice letter saying, ha ha ha,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Here's a pen,
Yeah.
I wasn't academically on that level of Packer. So I went to Adelphi, and it was a great school, and great kids, great experience, and craziness, because we were there during the 70s, and that's what that was. And I was cordially invited to leave in a certified letter that arrived in my house in the summer, so
don't come back in the fall.
Well, no. So I wasn't on property to find out, and I started something called in-house suspension that they never had at Adelphi, and I used to make IDs. So, because Adelphi has the name, and there's a university, so I learned that I could cut the rubber stamp, and if I had enough orders for IDs, I would get in trouble, and they would suspend me and lock me in an office to do like paperwork for the school, and I would sit there and bang out the paperwork, and then
bang out the IDs.
Print out Adelphi University college IDs. And I was making a killing. My parents couldn't understand why I was constantly getting suspended. I'm like, drinking age was 18 for us.
That's
so
right.
Every kid in high school wanted,
And to get in the clubs.
Oh, forget it.
To get in the clubs. In Brooklyn, you had to get in the clubs.
I had it down pat. It was perfect. Not one of my IDs were ever questioned. But remember, back in that time, we didn't even have pictures on driver's licenses. They were pieces of paper.
Yep.
So,
barely pieces of paper.
Yeah. So, and if you laminated it, the cops immediately thought it was bogus.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, why? Is it chalk?
I can't get over.
Yeah, because they would check the chalk.
Yeah, that's it.
But I was good. I used to chalk it, hit it with hairspray, chalk it again, hit it with hairspray. Forget it. But yeah, so I went to Adelphi, and nobody really knows me from Fort Hamilton.
Right.
It's like a few people.
Yeah.
And I only went there for gym and health. I don't know why they thought I needed that, and gym, I would go on purpose and fail.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't accustomed to, it was a little, it was a wild school, it was too big. And I was never changing my clothes in the locker room.
No.
That was never happening. So I'd go in and refuse, and so they would fail me. And then I'd go off to health, and I'd get in trouble because I'd light up a cigarette in the classroom or something. And I would get yelled at and thrown out of the classroom. And I did it on purpose because I had a job at the World Trade Center.
Right.
And I needed to run out of school so I could get on the R.
And get to the, that's right.
To
get
hit
to the
Van
job.
Cortlandt Street. And then after that, I would get off the R train, jump in my car, and drive to Grady High School.
Grady.
Let me tell you, I had the best gig in town. I would drive to Grady High School, and the boys had already checked in for me. They would make sure my name was signed in on the list, and I would sit on the hood of my car, and I had to supposedly take weightlifting class, which never happened. I would just sit there, and all the boys would just come outside, and we all grew up together.
That's it.
Yeah, and it was great. Brooklyn was so much fun.
It was family.
Yes.
It was friends. Even the businesses, even the clubs.
Yes.
I mean, for myself growing up there, I grew up on 83rd Street.
I'm 79th.
Okay, so and that was the block that they shot Saturday Night Fever.
Right,
79th
they were
Street.
between Ridge and 3rd, and I was between 3rd and 4th. But do you remember they turned the street around?
Around the other way. That's
Yes.
right. That's right.
Yeah, and how many people freaked out because they couldn't drive down, drive up the street? They were like
That's right.
driving down. And then after the movie set left, how many people would go and there were car accidents
And the other
all
way.
the time?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Well, that thing was shot so low budget. What wound up happening is my grandfather my one grandfather's in the fish business. The other grandfather had a shoe repair. He was on Colonial Road off of 69th Street. They used to
That was your grandfather?
That was my Alberto.
Oh, my God.
Alberto Pettignano.
Wow.
And they used to take John Travolta there to get him away from the set because they didn't have trailers.
Right.
They didn't have anything. So they'd take John Travolta, they'd put him in my grandfather's shoe shine thing where you'd open the gate, step up, sit down on the shoes. They bring him lunch. And my grandfather with the Italian accent, let me tell you something. I like you so much. And what I got to do is I got to know what do you do when you do something. And, it was...
Oh, my God.
Before my grandfather passed away, he had asked, I just want to see if I could say hello or something. This was in 05. Well, actually 02. And, my career going from high school to summer stock to theater, after I finished 2 Broadway shows, I wound up in 80 going to California being a stuntman for 10 years.
Wow.
And it's movies, special effects. I started a movie production company that, The Home Reporter, remember The Home Reporter?
Of course. Alex?
Yes.
Come on now. If you didn't have a picture with Alex,
you weren't anybody.
you were nobody. And
right.
Barney?
Yes.
Barney the sidekick.
That's it.
I used to call him Uncle Barney.
And it was so much fun because you'd see this well-tanned guy with the glasses and a nice jacket at every bar with a cigarette and a drink and everybody walking and standing.
Matt, remember though we could take photographs with alcohol in our hands.
That's right.
Nobody does that anymore. Cigarettes and alcohol, there are so many pictures of me in the Home Reporter. I'm like...
And that's it, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
But what wound up happening with all of this, they had done in 1986 a whole page article on Brooklyn Boy Makes Good, because I started the movie production company, Crystal Pyramid Productions, after I was stunting.
Wow.
And all of this other stuff. And we were in New York, and between New York and California. But what wound up happening, we were doing pretty good. Got Joe Spinell, Joe Spinell was the maniac in the movie Maniac.
Yeah.
He was the biggest character actor there ever was. He was in Rocky, best friends with Stallone.
Wow.
He was in all of these movies. He was a little on the downside at that point in '88. I got him to do a movie for me. He was playing the demon and the detective. And it was called Crystal Clear. Vestron gave me a $2 million promissory note because I had Joe. Now, me and a friend of mine, we wrote it. We were going to shoot it. We were doing all the special effects. I was doing the stunts and had the stunt crew ready.
Wow.
We had locations. As soon as we went into '89, Joe passed. Premature.
Oh, my God.
Vestron pulled the promissory note because we didn't have a bankable star. And then a little after that, we had the writer's strike.
Yeah. That's how reality TV came into play.
That's it. That broke my legs, because I could have gone back to California, and I just didn't want to go back that way. So I made my way a different way, from that point on. But it was some wild times.
You've had an outstanding career.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I met you a long time ago, even though we must have met in Bay Ridge.
Well, we definitely met in Bay Ridge.
Definitely. But I met you in a backyard party with my husband at Sal's house.
That's right.
Right. So,
Yep.
I mean, and it was just one of the best backyard parties, still to this day, that I've ever been to.
No, we had, and that's Sal Scoglianiello.
Yes,
Patsy's
from
Italian
Patsy's.
restaurant. Yes, good people.
Beautiful
great
family.
Restaurant.
Beautiful family, great restaurant. Salt of the earth.
Oh,
they really are humble, kind, and hardworking.
They really are. And it goes down to his father, too, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe is one of those Italians that are like the people we grew up with.
Yeah.
They'll know right away, do they like you, they don't like you. And they could see if
they don't like you, you better run.
If they don't like you,
Yeah.
no matter what, you could give them $1 million, they're not going to like you. I fell into the like category, and I stay there, and I'm very happy about that's
Thank
right.
God.
But
Sal, keep him in the light
yes,
category,
Sal, please. I don't want to go nowhere. I like it there.
Sal, I'm wondering why we were not invited back. I guess we're not in the light. No.
Oh, you know what, Sal? We'll work on it next time around. Don't worry.
Sal and my husband are actually, really good friends.
Yes.
And my husband, Steve, is the president of the Food and Beverage Association of America. So I don't actually go to a lot of his events because, that's his time to be him and,
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
So he knows, though, that when they do an event at Patsy's, that I'm not missing that.
Right.
I was actually just there, I think 2 months ago, for one of the events, and it was like I was in so much heaven because it was paired up with a bourbon company. I'm a bourbon drinker.
Right. That's right.
So
Frank Sinatra's bourbon.
Bourbon and Patsy's.
Yep.
That's a home run.
That's it.
The food was outstanding.
He does a good job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it's not processed. It's not, warmed over. It's made.
It's made with
fresh.
love.
That's right.
It's made with love.
And I've been in that kitchen enough to know. So, I mean, I walk in there, I come up the block, Sal, what are you doing? Or what he does is, whenever he has somebody to come in, that wants to do something,
yeah.
I'll get a call. I'm at work. I'm down the block at work. George, come up here. I want you to say hello. I'm kind of working here. George, okay, I'm coming. Come up, walk in. The one time he did that with Michael Bublé. He said, George.
I would run from Michael Bublé.
Well, I didn't know. He said, George, come on up. There's a friend of mine here. I want you to meet, and it's his birthday. And he's upstairs. He wants you to sing happy birthday. So I figure, okay, we're over there.
Don't pay attention. You're with me. You're with me. Don't pay attention.
It. And I says, okay, Sal, I'm kind of working, but I'll come. I go up there.
I think you really should state what you do for a living, that's not a slouchy or easy experience to, it's not like you're checking at the library where you can be like, could you wait to check your books out in a few minutes? I got to go.
I got to go, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I work for CBS TV at the Broadcast Center on West 57.
So it's not like you can easily, jump out.
We're doing a show or something's going on or
Yeah.
we're breaking news or something.
Yeah.
It's all hands on deck.
Right.
But when I can, run out or I got a lunch or something.
I'm sorry, we're not filming anymore because Michael Bublé's up the block.
Yeah, I'll be back, I promise.
Yeah.
So I go up there and I go, Sal, okay, come on. Why? I'm here. Where's your friend? I'll go sing happy birthday. And he goes, he's upstairs. Now, he knows he won't tell me. So I go upstairs, and I take everything with a grain of salt and a smile. There's too much bad stuff out there.
Yes.
And there's too many things that are not good. I'm not going down that route. I want to smile. I want people to smile. I want to be happy. So, okay, who is it that it was so important that I have to sing happy birthday? I'm here. Let's go. And then all of a sudden, I walk to the end of the room where the Frank Sinatra curtain is.
Right.
And there's a long table with a bunch of guys, and I hear, it's me, George. And it's Michael Bublé.
Oh.
And I just kind of went, hi. I says, you want me? You could get anybody to do this. He goes, no, Sal's been talking to me about you, so I had to come up. And then we talked after that, and he says, well, what do you call what you do? I says, well, what I do is a lot of fun, so I call it ring-a-ding swing. And the ring-a-ding swing is I don't do anything straight. You're going to sing. Make it fun.
Yes.
Make the people smile. I'm not there to tell you how many schools I've studied at to be a singer.
Right.
I'm going to do what I got to do to make you smile. I'm going to be on you. I'm going to take your food. I'm going to sit down next to you. I'm going to sing all the songs you want to sing, and we're going to do it happy.
I wish I would have known where you're going to perform tomorrow night in advance.
Right.
Because, I made plans because it's my first day off from school. We're on vacation now. So I'm going to be in Howard Beach tomorrow.
Right.
And I would definitely have come to see you. Definitely. That would have been great.
Well, we'll get there. Can I say where we're going to be?
Sure.
I'm going to be at El Postos on Avenue U tomorrow night, start at 7 o'clock.
I love that place.
It's a great, these are the old bone Italian places.
Yes.
They're like on the same level as New Corners or Gargiulo's.
Oh, I miss New Corners.
I'm telling you, I can't believe they closed.
Me either. I was in Bay Ridge
closed.
on Sunday. And I was over at the Salty Dog watching the Mets with a group of guys that I like, that are brothers from another mother. And I parked a few blocks away because, parking is like horrendous in Bay Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
And as I'm walking, there was not one place from my youth still there. So I walked by the old Mr. Tang's, which is not Mr. Tang's.
I know.
It's like, you know, I don't know, some clearance center now. Just all the places were gone.
Yeah, even Cyball's funeral home is gone, which was on the same block as the Salty Dog on the corner.
Everything. I mean, I don't know. The fact that they took down the building of Pastels.
I know.
How could that happen? That should have been a landmark.
It should have been.
It really should have been a landmark.
It should have been, and
building.
it didn't happen. And well, the thing is, back then we were having fun. They were never supposed to last.
Right,
they were
but when
supposed to be in a moment of time.
GQ did an article on Pastels. Pastels was always like hot to us.
Yeah.
And it always had a line. I mean, and the magic of that sauce was the fact that management and ownership was so severely on top of everything.
Yes.
They were on point on everything, from the carpet to the glassware to the DJs, the music. They had the best of the best. I'm still friends with the DJs. And the bartenders. They had the best bartenders. They had the best DJs, the best doormen. They had the most engaging staff. They made you feel like you were a rock star walking in Pastels.
Yeah. That's
so
right.
their lines were around the corner, and nobody fought online. Because they talked to the doormen. They
didn't want to get thrown out. They wanted to get in.
No, you know what the secret was? The doormen were so nice to the people online.
Right.
They would talk to them. They made them feel like special waiting there.
Right. That's right.
The odd concept that you have to wait to go spend your money in someone's place for hours to be good enough to be let through the door never entered into their minds. It was the fact that once they got through those, you know, the golden ropes over there, they were going to have the experience of their life.
That's right.
And everybody did. Each and every night, that place was on point.
Oh, yeah.
That place, after GQ put it, I mean, the lines were wrapped around the block.
That's right. You had to go past the bowling alley. You had to go past everything to get it. That's right.
Yeah. And, I mean, it was just insanity. But that should have been landmarked.
It should have been. Well, if you look at the way they were, I mean, that place, even before, that was a
Penthouse? I used to go to Penthouse in high school.
That's right. That used to be a pretty heavy-duty place, too, at one time.
Sure.
And then it switched over. I mean, other clubs did that. The 802 Lounge, what did that turn into? Saturday Night Fever, 2001 Odyssey.
That's right.
And everything you see in that movie, because I used to sing there. Mm-hmm. Back then, at a high school, from the Broadway, from the play we did in high school, that went to Summer Stock, that went to Cafe La Mama, that went to Broadway.
Right.
That band that I had, I traveled with. My name in the play was Billy D. Bumpers. I kept Billy D, and my band was Billy D and the Boys.
Wow.
And we would hit all of these places. And
name some of the places that you hit, because you know, you and I have so many friends in common, and so many of the places are places that I, you know, basically lived in.
Well, we'll start at 2001.
Yeah.
2001 was more than just a dance club.
Oh, yeah.
And everything that you'd seen in that movie was real, from the bar with the girl that was dancing on the... That was like that from the 802 Lounge.
Listen,
that didn't change.
I was way too young, but that's a story I can't explain on air. Going in there.
I won't go there, I promise.
I can't. But Charlie would put his hands on my eyes.
To go pick you out, Charlie, at the door.
To walk me past, you know, the girls dancing on the bar.
Yeah.
And that's how I became, like, so tight with this guy Ralphie D.
Right.
He's like I could go anywhere in the world with Ralphie. In fact, he's touring right now. But he was one of the DJs.
Right.
And I think one of the first like serious crushes I ever had in my life was his partner, Joey Cougine, that DJ. Oh my God, please. Yeah.
You know, I'm laughing because I remember them.
Yes, yeah. The fun times. But they used to stick me in the DJ booth, because the DJs had to babysit me because I was way too young to be in this place.
That's right. You couldn't get out on the floor, so you're going to be there and have fun.
I didn't even know what to do on the floor. First of all, Joey didn't even know I was at that age, and he took me out on the dance floor, you know, testing out the lights. Yeah. And he was like trying to hustle with me. I'm like,
yeah.
I didn't know how to hustle. I'm like,
that's right.
I'm
you know how old I am?
I was 12. I'm good. I didn't know what to do. My best girlfriend from visitation growing up, Maria Torgrosa, her brother Louie, used to have all his friends in the house in the basement, and they would put on, you know, the OJs and everything.
Yeah,
and Louie used to look at me and go, how are you ever going to have a date?
That's right. You got to get rhythm. You got to get rhythm.
He's like, you have two left feet. Now, I'm a great house dancer. Like, that's my style. You know, freestyle in house. But this whole thing where you have to follow someone and take direction.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't have a clue. Can't do any of it. So I'm walking around the dance floor at 2001. I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
But it was the greatest experience. And then when I found out Vito Bruno bought that dance floor, I was like, at least it stays in the family.
Yeah, that's right. It's not going to go
Love
anyplace.
Vito, yes.
And it's funny because with that whole thing, well, you know, going back to me being there, you'd asked where do I perform? I performed there with my band. We did, remember Carol Williams?
Yes,
More?
of course.
We did the television show, the Carol Williams TV show out of there. It was me and my band. It was the Regents. It was Carol Williams. It was one of these psychic guys that could hypnotize people. Oh, what we did to this poor guy on television, Carol Williams show. They lined us all up, and now I'm going to make you sleep. And when make you sleep, I'm going to give you a suggestion. Now, there was a line of 3 or 4 of us. Now, me being a smart ass, I'm sitting there, and you're going to sleep. So I go like this. And when he walks away, I'm looking at the camera going, and he'll look back at me and I'll go like this again.
You blew it for the guy. Oh, my God.
But the thing is, it was all in good fun.
Sure.
I mean, he did get through to some people, but I wasn't going to act like a chicken and chase myself around. I wasn't doing that.
No. Not me either.
But we worked there. I knew Charlie well. I knew...
he was such a great guy.
He really was. I mean, and it's just at times you're not going to see.
No.
Another guy that I was close with, and all my friends were older.
Yeah.
And I liked it because I could learn from the older people. You know, that's the way I felt. Mm-hmm. And all the guy we talked about, the guy that owned the little record store on 86th Street.
Yeah.
I knew him.
Yeah.
They had a lot of money in all the clubs.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie Lynch that owned the upstairs lounge. Remember Eddie?
Oh,
Remember
upstairs lounge, downstairs lounge. Oh my
right.
God, side streets.
That's right.
Oh.
That the top of the Crescent.
Sure.
I'll never forget. A long time ago.
It was the Ice House, top of the Crescent.
That's right.
Most people don't know that.
I know, and then they changed it because
Yeah.
they got a little more refined. It was a restaurant, but they still did music.
Yeah.
And I went there. One of the owners wanted to talk to me, and Ernie says, "Go over. The guy wants to talk to you."
Who, Ernie Barry?
Yeah, Ernie, because Ernie was a great guy.
Yes.
I mean, he was the first person to put, I went into, while he was actually working on the club,
Right.
painting, scaffolds, and doing all of this stuff.
He had such a huge heart.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And he always told me, he says, "George, you got it. Whatever it is, you got, just keep smiling. And don't worry." And that's what I try and do. But he was working on the place because it used to be OD Breaks. It used to be a garage. And he was working it all together. And he told me, "Before you start here, go over there and talk to them." Now I go over there, and I think it was Joe at the time. He was the bigger owner of the place. And they had the office downstairs, and then you got in the elevator, went upstairs. So I sit, and he's looking at me, says, "Ernie says you're good. You think you want to do something here?" I go, "I'd like to. It would be nice. It's a nice place." "Well, yeah." And then he opens his jacket and sits there like this. You see the 38. I mean, I'm wearing my microphone pack here. I feel like I'm packing tonight. But you see the 38. And I looked at it, and I looked at him. And I says, "I would like to perform here. I will be respectful." Now, I'm an 18-year-old telling him this.
Sure.
I said, "But my grandfather's Joe LaMonica, so, you know,
Yeah.
that don't scare me."
Yeah.
So what wound up happening, he smiled. And he says, "Okay, you're not a schmuck."
Yeah.
I go, "No, I'm not a schmuck." And all you had to do was ask, and I'd have told you.
I love those experiences when I enlighten someone on that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about the Parakeet Lounge.
Sure.
What a great place. In that hotel. I never knew it was a hotel.
Nobody knew about that. That was such a little secret of Bay Ridge.
Yeah.
Ernie Barry ran for a really, really, really long time. So he and I had a great friendship, including with Joe Monk, you know, like
Joe,
that.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
that whole crew.
Yes.
And I remember the few times that I would go to Ernie Barry's, like to socialize. And he'd come right over to me, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I go, "I'm here to spend some money."
Yeah, that's it. Have a little fun.
Yeah. And he's like, "No.
Yeah.
No. And he goes, "Not with these guys."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Why? They're my friend's dads." And he's like, "That's exactly
That's
why
why.
you can't stay
That's
here."
right.
And he's like, "You got to go."
Right.
I'm like,
because friendship changes after a while when you're in a club
"No."
late.
He goes, "Do you think your friends' fathers want to see you while they're out
That's right.
And I was like, I don't understand. He's like, do they look like they're your friend's mothers?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I get it.
It's like the bell went off. Ding, 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 ding,
Well, I
ding.
was, 15 years old. I was like, I don't know what you mean. And then I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But I would have to call him. I'm like, Ernie, I really want to come in tonight. May I please come to your club and visit a friend?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the nice thing about, I've always seen it in you and with you, if you follow your posts or anything else, you are one of the, my grandmother had a term for certain people. She'd call them a tough egg. And you're a tough egg with a heart. That's what it is. That's what I see. And it's the perfect balance is that's what gets you through life.
Yes.
And that's what makes it, with me, I try and, I don't want to be tough. I want to have fun. I want people to be around me and have fun too. But with the personalities, it'll always work. Your personality will always get you going where you want to go.
I grew up in a unique environment where predominantly most of the people in my life are men.
Right.
And so, whoever was in my life as a boyfriend or whatever had to understand that, like, my strong bonds of my male friendships were mega important. That's it. Like, they come first, and you're second. And if you don't like them, and they don't like you, you're gone.
You're out. You're off. ORF, 4.
Yeah, exactly. But you had to be tough, because you can't be that girl who's like, oh, well, you're not nice to me. I'm going to get my friend. No.
Yeah, no, that don't work.
No, and also being a bartender.
Right.
I was bartending by 16.
Right.
So
and that's where the tough egg comes in. You have
gotta
to hold your own back there.
But you got to be compassionate.
Right.
Like, I had a girl who came into one place I was working, and she was begging for a job. And we were really, at the time, like one of the hot places, lines, the whole 9 yards. And I don't mean the lines on the table. I mean the lines out the door.
Yeah.
And the girl turns around and she's like, oh, I'm a bartender. I'm like, are you now? I'm like, I said, all right, I'll test you out. I put her behind the bar. She couldn't handle anything.
Right.
I don't know. I think I was going to give her like a half an hour, just to see her skills.
Right.
And the girl had 0. And I went up slamming the cash register drawer in her hands, and the girl starts crying. I said, you're a waitress. Don't lie to me.
Right.
I will treat you right. I'll do anything for you, but you're costing me money.
Right, exactly.
So tell me the truth. Go in the back. Go wash your face. Go reapply your makeup. When you're ready, I'll teach you how to bartend.
That's it.
And the girl just looked at me and she was like, fast forward. The girl worked for me in 4 different places. I took her 4 different places. I mean, and 4 different, like, really crazy, unique, type of things. Where one place we had to search on the floor for an ear because I had promised the guy who lost the ear if I found it, I would, drive it to the hospital.
Yep.
Fast forward, the girl calls me up and says, can you come and meet me? I want to have lunch with you. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. She takes an envelope and she slides the envelope across the table. She said, I won lotto. And I said, what? And she goes, I won lotto. And she goes, and that's for you. So I took the envelope and I slid it back to her. I said, I don't want anything. She goes, what you didn't know was I needed that job more than you could ever imagine. I had to feed my little sister.
Wow.
And she said, my parents were sick. And she said, and we had nothing, like literally nothing. And she goes, and you took me, I was able to support my sister and, and my family situation. And she goes, and I want to pay it back. I said, what you pay back to me is don't be a bitch and be nice to somebody else who's working their way up. I don't want your money. I'm glad you won lotto. Don't tell anybody you won lotto. In fact, move. Because everybody's going to come out of the woodwork as your best friend.
That's right. That's exactly. But you see that
So you
that
gotta
was
be
respect.
nice.
You have respect both ways.
Yes.
And it pays off. It really
Absolutely.
does pay off.
Absolutely.
I mean, you could do things 100. I mean, places I work, I'll come in and you look at the lay of the land immediately. Okay, that's the person I'm going to have a problem with. That's the person I could laugh with. That's the person who's going to stab me in the back. and you got to watch it. And it don't have to be that hard.
Listen, I'm in the nightclub business 45 years, and I assess every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Exactly. I read the room. Problem, great.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Man, maybe we can make them a new friend here, and they'll,
Exactly.
I read the room every Saturday night.
When I perform, I try and do the same thing. I will hit the floor. I'll open up with something big. Something to say, okay, I'm here. Are you going to listen?
What's your genre? Explain your genre.
My genre goes from, I go from the 40s all the way to the early 70s.
Wow.
So
okay.
I'll do Louis Prima, stuff like that. I'll end up with Loggins and Messina, Your Mama Don't Dance, or My First, My Last, My Everything.
Oh.
That usually comes at the end of the show, because when I do a show, I like to work it that if it's a dinner type show.
You're ending your show with the biggest baby-making song ever.
Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes, I am.
That is the biggest baby-making song. I think Barry White is responsible for, a couple of million children being created.
I believe you're right, but it crosses
Yes.
over generations, because I could start a show and if after I do a big song, I got their attention.
Right.
After I get their attention, I figure, okay, they're starting to order, and I don't take a break when I perform.
Oh, wow.
I do 3.5 hours straight. Sometimes I've done 4 hours straight.
Oh.
And it's just that I get into it. Once
Sure.
I get into it, I'll say, okay, I'm going to I don't want to drop the audience.
Right.
Because if I have them here, I don't want to go here and bring them back up again. So what I'll do is I'll do a slower song or a couple of slower songs. This way they could talk, they could eat, they could order.
Right.
But then I'm back on it again. And, it'll work when I do the Sinatra stuff. Anything, I do Elvis, I do Roy Orbison, I do, I've just added, because I found a lot of Italian men in Brooklyn like Engelbert Humperdinck songs. And
I know.
I love them myself.
Listen, all of those performers were, what movies, tried to capture when they
Yes,
made some of those movies.
that's right, that's
because
right.
every place in Brooklyn had,
That's right.
a million experiences every single night.
Exactly right. And this brings some of the people back.
Sure.
But with those songs, I call those the big voice songs. And I'll start, like I said, a big song. I'll slide into a couple of Frank Sinatra songs, a couple of Dean Martin songs, a couple of the Rat Pack style songs.
And you're friends with Dean's daughter, Dina.
Yes, Dina's great lady.
Yeah,
Great,
she
great,
really
great
is
lady.
a lovely, lovely person.
We,
You wouldn't think that she would be so kind, and you wouldn't think she would be so humble, because her dad, Dean Martin.
Oh, very.
But she's one of the sweetest people. Like,
Yes.
I was really, really floored when I met her, and as I got to know her, I was like, this can't be. She
Yeah.
must be like twice removed child.
No, she's not.
But
She's
she's not,
not.
and
Yeah.
she's the real deal of like kindness.
That's right. We, the couple of times that I was with her, one time I worked with her at the Bergen Pack. Sal from Patsy's was doing the food, and he was sponsoring the Dina Martin show, and Sal, the voice Valentinetti, was on.
Another really nice person.
Oh, great guy.
Yeah.
Great. I mean,
Funny as hell,
we're
but-
friars together. Well, we're all friars together. So, but what winds up happening is Sal wanted me to be in the cocktail hour when people were coming in, getting their books, having the cocktails, their drinks. So I was in the lobby, and I did an hour in the lobby to warm the people up and get them in. And it turned around, and Dina says she didn't want to hear any of her father's songs.
Right.
I didn't hear that. So I was doing a couple of them, and John, her husband, who's another class act, another really great guy.
Yes.
He saw me, he heard it, he went back, and he told her, he says, well, he did a couple, and he's pretty good because he ain't trying to imitate your father. He's just singing the songs with an inflection.
Okay.
And that's what it's about.
Right.
I mean, I, as you and anybody that's out there now, we all loved Frank, loved Dean, loved Sammy, Elvis, all of them.
Right.
But unfortunately, they're not here anymore.
Right.
And I'm not supposed to be them. I'm
No, but you're
supposed to be a
supposed to-
singer that sings a song and let you
keep
remember.
the music alive.
That's right. That's
mean-
what it is. That's what it is, and that's what I try and do. I'll tell people, if you're going to rate me on if I sound like Frank or not, you can leave now, because you're not going to hear that. And but again, a singer should sing a song.
Right.
And that's what I do. I mean, in Fort Hamilton, Nelson Suhu. Nelson Suhu was the chorus teacher. This man put me in every section that needed help. Whether it was a soprano, the bass, the tenor.
Right.
George, get in that and help him now. And I've learned from there. St. Anselm's, Sister Marcella, the music
my
teacher.
parish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sister Marcella, she would tell my mother, your son has a voice like an angel. What happened to the rest of them?
I didn't go to St. Anselm School, but that was my parish, and they were tough.
Oh, boy,
They
were
were
they
tough.
tough. I could tell you firsthand how tough they were.
They would call my house if I wasn't at Mass. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Where is your daughter?
That's it.
Why is the priest calling my house? Like,
They ran a tight ship. I
Yeah,
could
they
tell
did.
you, I still have associations with them because what is it? Sophia's on 3rd Avenue in Brooklyn, Italian
Right.
restaurant. They do a lot of things, you know, to help raise money for St. Anselm's. And
Is that
I've
Pat
done,
Sophia's place?
yeah. Oh, Paul Sophia. The father had the New York.
Right.
And Paul and his wife Sophia run this place here.
Now, Paul is the father's, what, son?
His son, I believe.
So his brother is Patty Sophia, who's
Yeah.
a friend of mine. Yeah.
Yep. And so we do.
I got to tell you a funny story. Patty opens up Indigo Blues. Oh, in Midtown. You got to come. You got to bring a bunch of girls. I need a, like, you know.
Yeah, a boost.
Yeah, I need a boost for the grand opening. Pretty people. And I go to the bar. My girlfriends were all over the place, and this man, I couldn't understand a word he was saying. He's like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, and we're young, you know. I go, this old man. So I go into the kitchen. I'm, Patty, come over here. Who's that disgusting guy? He keeps mumbling, and he's trying to touch me. And he goes, what? I go, yeah. He's touching my hair, like, and my shoulder. He keeps throwing his jacket on me, and I keep giving his jacket back. Turn around and tell him to stop touching me, or I'm going to punch him in the face. He goes, Di, that's my opening act. That's Miles Davis. I went, well, tell Miles, whoever. He's like, no, Miles Davis. I go, I don't care.
The jazz
Miles
great.
or Davis or Davis Miles. Tell him stop touching me, or I'm going to punch him in the face. He had to go over there. He's like, you can't touch her. He's like, I'm like, go away, go away.
Isn't it funny? And the things when we're younger and going through things, we're innocent enough to know that, okay, we don't know it. We know what's going on around us, but we could have been around the greatest of great, but it wasn't our neighborhood, it wasn't our friends, and it wasn't our territory, so we didn't know.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly who Miles Davis was by the name,
right?
But it meant nothing to me.
That's right.
While he was pawing.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
Hands off.
Has to show respect, no matter what.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't care. I was young, not that young, but still, like, don't. In fact, you could be my great-grandfather. Like, why do you got your hands on me?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm telling you, you and me, we've seen a lot. Go up to the Pines and work at the Pines Resort.
Wow.
I went up there with my 3-piece with Billy D and the boys. We were hired to go up there. They put me on this stage. I never seen a stage that big in my life. Me and my 3 pieces will look this big on the stage. So I figured I'd fix it. And I still do the same thing now. I wound up getting 100 Jewish and Italian mothers that night because I came off the stage. I says, look, we're here to have fun. Now, I'm 18 years old.
Sure.
We're here to have fun. I want all you to follow me. You're all going to dance on the stage with me.
Oh, wow.
Filled up the stage, and then their husbands came up. So we filled up the stage, and we did an hour of them on stage, me working and them all dancing.
Oh, my God.
And
you can't have that kind of fun anymore. Nobody does that.
No, you can't. You cannot. And it was same thing with Caesars down in Atlantic City.
Sure. I love Caesars.
So do I. It's Caesars Palace now. But nobody remembers. That used to be, when it first opened up in 1977, that was the Caesars Boardwalk Regency.
You're right.
And I was the first act. Yeah.
I have a book of matches from them.
Yeah, Caesars Boardwalk, and I was the first lounge act. The bar that was right on the corner, right on the boardwalk. Yeah. I was the first lounge act. Hired than that.
Wow. Oh my God. I mean, Atlantic City really has come through so many different paces.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
And I keep hoping it's going to get better. I love AC. I mean, you can't win there, but I love AC.
But you know, I love the life because you put me in a room with a lot of people, lights, and all the sounds, and a good place to eat. Right now, well, what I enjoy going down there is I enjoy going to the ocean. Mm-hmm. You know, go have a drink, relax on the outside terraces, 5 stories in the air.
Right.
You know, and then you go to the Hard Rock. They got bands in the lounge all night.
My friend Ross the Boss plays at the
Hard Rock.
That.
Ross the Boss.
Ross the Boss.
I like that.
And his son, his name is Andrew, and Andrew is the underboss.
Okay.
Because he's the son.
The son, yeah.
But a crazy, amazingly talented DJs.
Right.
I mean, and he just does off the hook events at the Hard Rock. Insane. Absolutely insane.
And you know what? It's something, because with a DJ,
do you remember
they
the
have
Fun
to
House?
hook. Yes, I do.
So Ross the Boss is from the Fun House.
Fun House, okay.
Yes. Every good bartender who lasted, who was in it for the, in it to win it, and stay as a career, always made friends with the DJs.
Yes.
Because honestly, we could be, I mean, there's a lot of bartenders who have no personality. For me, it's really like acting. Lights, camera, action,
Yeah.
the show's on.
You're on.
Yeah.
I'm on.
I'm
That's
on.
it.
I'm there to entertain you. I am there to provide great service. I'm there to make sure you have the best time of your life. I could do all of this, but if the DJ didn't play
That's it.
the music,
That's it.
I'm
It's a
doing this
dead
to an
room.
empty room.
That's right.
So I always, always, always gravitated towards the DJs.
Right.
Because they were so integral to the whole night being a success.
That's right. That's the feel.
Yeah.
That they make the room, they form the atmosphere.
That's right.
And you gotta feel like you're walking on water.
And the live acts that would come in.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean, you meet them when they're young, when they're trying to like push the CD, you know, trying to become, you know, whatever they want to be and get you to play their music because they weren't really sure if the record pool was really pushing that song.
Exactly,
You know, the
that's
rest
right.
of that. And you couldn't get to a DJ because they were so, suspended up in the air.
Yes.
It's not like now where it's like stadium where they're in your
Yeah,
face.
you could get the. It used to be like TGIF Fridays up on the ball, up on the top over
Exactly.
there with the lightning bolts going.
So they had to come to us. You know, and you would gauge them. Like if they were nice, you feel bad,
Yep, yep.
whatever. It looked like they may have a good sound or whatever. You'd pass the CD, you'd call the DJ in the
That's
booth.
right.
I got you.
Give this a spin. Take a listen to
Yeah.
it. We had something. I think this was Jerry Seinfeld was doing a television show, and we were filming it at CBS, Marriage Ref. And the first show he had Kelly Ripa.
Mm-hmm.
He had what's his name? I'm not going to remember his name right now, but he also had Madonna.
Okay.
And they were on the show that night. And so Kelly Ripa came in, sweet lady.
Yeah.
But she's like this. She's
Yes,
I
yes,
can't
she's
believe
petite.
it.
She's
yes,
petite.
but she's sweet, sweet lady. And then Madonna came in, and she walked right past me, and I go, boy, you came a long way from sitting on that speaker with Jelly Bean Bonitas. Huh? And she looked at me and says, I was there with you when you were dancing. You give her your number. I'll call you when I come back from Europe.
Do you remember the scrap bar?
Yes.
Okay, remember Steve who owned the scrap bar?
Right.
Okay. So she wasn't who we know her to be
Right,
now.
exactly.
Yet, when he was
Right.
hot at
No,
the scrap
because she
bar.
was just dancing. She was just there.
Yeah, she was.
She was almost like, at the time, she was like almost a street person.
Well,
that
yeah,
loved to
she was-
dance, loved to be out,
Yes,
loved to
yeah.
party.
She was Alphabet City, like Fly Girl.
Yes, yes, she was.
But when Steve was like really putting his money together to open up the scrap bar, you know, he would come in and have a drink so he could get to the,
Right.
food that you put out for happy hour.
Yep.
And you could see that he was struggling because he would be like stashing,
Yep,
stuff.
Yep.
So whatever, we developed a good friendship. And I don't know, I go one night and he's like working on the scrap bar and the place was a total dungeon. If you survived the bathrooms at the scrap bar, CBGB's, the Mud Club, the Limelight where I worked.
Max's.
Kansas City. Those were the roughest bathrooms all over New York City. They made Grand Central Station, Penn Station, the Staten Island Ferry look like,
You're 100% right.
like the Plaza.
You're 100% right.
And I walk in and I see Madonna in there.
Yeah.
I go, what's up with this? And he goes, oh, I feel bad. She's so good. She's so talented. She doesn't have any place to sleep tonight. And he goes, and she had all of these rubber things on her arms, which we all ran out to go buy. But, and they were packaging like these things.
Yep.
I wound up going to the automotive store and
And
buying.
getting the rings, yeah.
Because they were cheaper
That's
in
right.
the automotive store. But I just remember going, what? Like, this is insane. But she was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazingly talented, and she was very fun.
Right.
She was cool. She was a
'Cause
cool
she-
city.
right, she just turned it on. She
Yeah.
just turned it on,
I have
it
a
was
friend
there.
now who doesn't understand when I say, I'm a city girl, even though I'm from Brooklyn,
Right.
and I got that edge. I dress in black all the time. I'm city edgy, urban.
Yep.
It is what it is, and it's from that time period.
Right, that's
It
it.
really developed my personality.
But that's just it, and that's what it was. Because the thing is, you were probably like me. I had my friends that we lived in the neighborhood.
Sure.
I always wanted to get out of the neighborhood and see other things. I wanted to go to New York. I snuck into New York. I wanted to see the club. I love the clubs here in Bay Ridge, and I
Sure.
love being there. But I had to get out and see other stuff too, to get the other influences. And that's what I did. Come on, guys, what are we doing tonight? Oh, we're going to get in the car. Oh, where are we going to go? We're
But
going
when
to go.
you're young and single, I mean, so again, I grew up in Bay Ridge. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody I grew up with because some of them watch the show. I love everybody I grew up with.
Yeah.
I didn't want to date anybody I grew up with.
That's it.
You wanted to go somewhere else, so you cruise the L.
That's right. Yeah,
You know, you got your car cleaned, you cruised the L,
Yep.
and if you played the right music, and if the guy walked over and you looked at
you
him,
did the switch.
you could talk, you know, the whole 9 yards, and you found out his name,
Yep.
and it was 6 degrees of separation.
Yep.
Who's your mother, who's your father, who's your cousin?
Right.
Then after that, then you started the real, like, if he was cute, you started the dig, and you would drive by Parrot Place. If the guy's car was in Parrot Place, he's off the list.
That's right.
There were 3 hotels, hot sheet motels, and if that car was in
In
any
the
of
hot
those
sheet, that's it, out.
you're off the list. And we did the same thing in Manhattan. And you know, you would go, like I had strong connections in Little Italy, so I really couldn't even like do that
Right,
in Little
right,
Italy.
right.
But you would hit all of the clubs in the city, and it was really just to meet boys. I mean, we just went there to see different boys,
Whoa.
not the boys we grew up with. You did
Me
it for
too in
girls.
reverse.
Yeah,
That's right.
for
Me
girls.
too in reverse.
Music, boys, clothing.
That's it. And well, for me, cars too.
Oh,
you
I-
had to have the cars.
Listen, most girls never had the type of cars that I had,
Right.
and let alone drive stick. And you know, I'm like kind of hardcore with that
Right,
stuff.
right.
And they would be like, you know, I'll take an Impala or whatever,
Yeah.
or a Cordoba. I'm like, what? What is this?
Well,
know?
you had a pretty nice car.
I've had really nice cars. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, my Lincoln was rocking in the beginning. Every boy wanted that Lincoln. I'm just like, whatever. And I had a '69 Thunderbird.
Nice
in the beginning with the
nice car.
wraparound
Yep.
seats.
I loved and the
Yeah.
doors that opened the wrong way, the shotgun doors.
Then I had a BMW. I had a Vet. I had a lot of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
I
tell
like
you-
German cars.
Okay,
Yeah.
you and me share big trajectories because I was
Yeah.
the same. You know, when I was younger, I was out on my own at 16.
I moved out at 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened with me is I couldn't get a car until I could afford insurance.
I was driving at 14.
Yeah.
Do you remember Ralph, the cop from the 6-8 precinct?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to say his last name.
Ralph and Manzin Sterner, the two super cops in Bay Ridge.
Yes. And he would go into Fort Hamilton High School's park, and whoop, 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 and call out my name. And then people would turn around and tell me, and I'd be like, Ralph, what makes you think I hang out in a park? What? I'm in a club. I'm not
That's
in a
right,
park.
that's right.
I want to see where you're driving. He would take me home and yell, and I convinced my mother that I could
Yeah.
drive at 14, that I'm okay, you know, that
Right.
no paperwork, nothing. I was driving at 14 years old.
Yeah. Well, that was today. I can't believe it. Nobody wants to drive today. They want to Uber. They want to this. They want to. My freedom was my car.
What is-
I could get in it. And I could go somewhere.
I want to know, we were raised on stranger danger. You don't go in a stranger's
That's
car.
right.
Why do you pay someone to be the stranger to pick you up now?
Exactly. Oh, I don't know who's coming to get me, but somebody is, and he's with Uber, so he's okay. No, I don't think so.
No, the only, you called Dyker Car Service.
Yes.
That was it, or Harborview Car Service.
That's right.
And you said who you were, and they assigned that driver to you. So you always knew it was, you know, who
That's
that
right.
was.
And they
you had
knew
like
you,
a choice of 3.
That's right. And it really, I had a lot of friends that did that.
Yeah.
And I knew a lot of girls did that they
Yeah.
come in and picking up you, and I know who you are.
Yeah, and we're going to make 10 stops, picking up
Right,
10
right.
different things. Yeah, we're going to pile everybody into that car. But it was really like a family thing. They would never assign like a
Everything
stranger
was-
to us.
No, everything was like a family thing then.
Yes.
Even your enemies knew the right way to do things. You know.
Yes.
And it's I feel bad because I find myself thinking a lot back. Mm-hmm. I mean, I want to move forward. I do move forward. You're living in this world. I make people like different things
Sure.
by the way you handle it. But you're always going to think of what you had because what we came from was family first, and then the family spilled over into everything else. When you were in the neighborhood, your grocer knew you. The guy at Bohack knew you.
Bohack! Oh my God!
That's it.
Yes.
And what it was what could they do today what we did back then? My mother, at 8 years old, would give me a note and say, go see Tom at Bohack and give him this. Now that's the manager of Bohack Supermarket.
Right.
You go in, he takes the letter, and he walks me around the store and he picks this, and puts it in a bag and says, bring this home to your mother. Then he takes the note, writes IOU on it, gives it to Karen, who's the cashier. She puts it under the drawer, and every Friday, all the women in the neighborhood go pay off their IOUs. Freddie the Butcher,
And they
Batard.
and if they liked you, they threw the extra stamps to put in the
That's
book.
right, the book,
Remember?
yes.
Remember?
That's right. And then you went someplace over where the N train was to redeem those green stamp books.
That's right.
Remember?
Yeah, for China, plates,
Yeah.
and whatever. I would go and I would sign. My dad had the accountant like pay, you know, everything went to the accountant.
Right.
And I would go and sign in all the stores. And the French dry cleaner on 79th Street and 3rd Avenue, I'd go sign. The
Right.
shoemaker, the this, the that. I think your grandfather was the shoemaker.
Yeah, down in Colonial, Colonial
and
Road.
they would send the, you know, the bills, handwritten.
Yes.
And, you know, it went to the accountant. The accountant would turn around and like, you know,
Yep.
knew every month he had to pay these bills.
That's it. And nobody welched.
No.
Because the thing is, you were only as good as your word.
Yeah.
And that's what, remember the fruit store, the grocery store, even my grandfather. How was your
Marine
bill?
market.
He'd write it on the bag.
Marine
write it on the
market.
paper. Yes, yes.
And everything in that, if you touched something, they'd look at you like you just killed someone.
That's right.
No, because they had to handpick the fruit for you.
That's right. 'Cause
Everything was just
that's right.
so.
No squeeze of the tomatoes.
Oh my gosh, no, it was just
no bruise of the bananas.
Yeah, everything was handpicked, and you know what? As a girl, my life was perfect with that.
Yeah.
I could be wherever I wanted to be. I had a million different, you know, people who watched for me.
That's it.
And if I did something wrong, somebody would catch it, somebody would see it. I was raised to do a tremendous amount of charity.
Right.
So I had to go and ask all the older ladies what they wanted before I went to Bohack.
Right.
And
Yeah.
bring it back for them, you know, the Maxwell coffee and
That's
all the rest of
right.
that. And if they saw me doing something wrong, they would punish me. And if my mother came out and saw me sitting on the steps, we didn't have cell phones, we had nothing. I'm playing with a stick. You know? Why are you sitting on such and such a step?
Yeah.
And I'd just give the look of like,
That's right.
you got in trouble, right? And I'd look at the, you know, the old lady, like, don't tell my mother, don't tell my mother. You knew you were she could punish me. The stranger up the block who knew me my whole life,
Right.
it's not my mother, could turn around and tell me, sit on my step and don't you dare move.
Yeah.
Don't you ever do that again.
That's
and
right.
I listened.
Yes, yes.
Who does that now?
No, I mean, and like you're saying is 100% true. My mother and my grandparents would be the first ones to say, if I ever even see a cop talking to you, first, if they're talking to you, better shit or go blind. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then after that, it went along the stoops, like lightning.
Yes.
You could be 4 blocks away, and a cop could be talking to you on the corner. All of a sudden, it would go from window to clothesline to the stoops, and like lightning.
Yep.
And then you get home, my mother's hanging out the window. Why did that cop talk? How did you know?
When they would come to my house to turn around and rat me out about driving, you know, all the neighbors would come out in like the house dresses, the ladies, they'd be with the cops.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to say,
With the Virginia Slims?
oh yeah, or Kent's.
Yes.
But they, you know, I was kind of like a little bit of a rebel at a fairly young age.
Yes.
You know, so.
Well, you wanted to see things. You wanted to do things.
Whatever. I have no answers because all I know is that I think my 22-year-old had just, you know, finally let her cross the street on her own when she went to college. So I have no excuses.
Right.
But our time is coming by
Wow.
so quickly. We only have 6 more minutes. I want you to take the 6 minutes. I want you to tell me everything. Everything and anything about you that I want to share with everyone. Like, what's your favorite song? What was your favorite club? What's your favorite meal? Where are you going to be next? All the rest of that stuff.
That's a tall order for 6 minutes.
Come on, you got 6 minutes. Go
All
for
right,
it.
all right. We'll start from here. Boom, boom. Again, a little bit about myself, where I went, how I got there, what I did, from high school to off-Broadway to Broadway.
Amazing.
At Broadway, I had my Actors Equity card. I had it signed by Theater Bickel.
Oh.
I was on, after I did Coolest Cat in Town at City Center, I wound up getting picked up when Coolest Cat closed. I got picked up to do 6 months of Grease. Did not like, I just wasn't, at that age, I wasn't mature enough to be on a Broadway stage.
Oh,
because
wow.
I couldn't navigate the people. I'm Tony Manero for real. You know, with that kind of attitude,
Yeah.
being with a bunch of sharks on stage.
Yeah.
And they were all great. But when you're working with them, and then what winds up happening, oh, well, you're really good at what you do. And, you know, I've studied at Juilliard, and I've done this, and I've done that. And you're really good. Where'd you study? Fort Hamilton High School, Brooklyn, New York. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm standing, and I always told everybody I'm not an actor. I'm a singer. I love to sing. I love to perform. I'm a show-off. Look, I'm a show-off.
You look great. You
Well,
look
thank
great.
you. I tell people, I dress the way I do because if I stink as a singer, at least I look good. I try to do that. So then I got the inkling and the idea. I always wanted to be a stuntman. I always wanted to go to California. So me being the kind of person I am, You ask. I tell everybody. I tell anybody I know. You don't know unless you ask. And after you ask, you got a 50-50 shot.
That's right.
That you get it or you don't. So.
And no is a maybe to me.
That's right. No is a hard maybe.
That's right.
So now what happened is I wrote a letter to Burt Reynolds. I knew where his premiere theater was in Jupiter, Florida. I knew all of this stuff. I sent him a letter asking, how's a kid from Brooklyn supposed to get a start? I knew Alex Capoulos, who was East Coast Stuntmen's Association, friends with Joe Spinell, friends with Danny Aiello, friends with Sonny Grasso, but they all told me the same thing. It's a father and son business, and even though we like you. So wrote this letter. I figured, that was my 50-50 shot. I'm done now, but I tried. And a month and a half later, I get a letter at my grandfather's house. Stunts Unlimited, California. I go, what the hell is this? My grandfather said, this is for you. Opened it up. Now, typed form letter, just like a throwaway letter.
Sure.
Inquiring about being a stuntman. Stuntman isn't just being physically strong, but mentally strong, and how am I going to do it, and what are we going to do? And, I'm figuring, okay, this is a brush off, but why is this coming? At the bottom of the letter in handwriting, Hal Needham wrote in his own handwriting, your letter was forwarded to me with a recommendation from Burt Reynolds.
Whoa.
If you want to come out, because I put the whole thing into Burt,
right.
A 2-page letter down to the point that I know where Dom DeLuise grew up. He grew up right around the corner on Table Court from my grandparents.
Wow.
And the families know each other. So,
yeah.
Put it all in. And he says, if you want to come out to California at your expense so we could look and evaluate you, we'll see what. So I says, hey, I'm going. I jumped on a plane. It took me all of 3 days to get a bag together, jumped on an airplane, got the ticket, went to California, landed Friday afternoon, got to Stunts Unlimited in California. Now I'm there. The secretary, it's almost the end of the day. And I got to see Hal Needham. And he goes, who are you? I says, well, here's the letter you sent. Here's the letter.
Do you still have the letter?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Oh, awesome.
And I says, I got this, and I really am interested. He goes, well, you definitely get A for effort to doing this. He says, we're closing up for the day. Why don't you turn around and come back, and we'll talk to you on Monday, and we'll see. I went, Monday, okay. He looked at me, because evidently I wasn't the only person to do this. He goes, do you got any money? I says, about $40. You said to come out, so I came out. I wanted to, I never thought I'd hear.
Yeah.
He got one of the stuntmen, Mike Giansanti, I'll never forget him. He says, take him home and bring him back on Monday, and we'll see what's going to happen. And I was the kind of guy, you want to do this? Okay. You want me to get coffee? Okay. You want me to learn? Okay. I said no. I didn't say no to anything. I wound up doing Predator, Platoon, Deep Star 6, Leviathan, The Abyss, Missing in Action 1, Nighthawks with Stallone. And Joe Spinell helped me get some stuff. Sonny Grasso helped me get some stuff. And it went to the point that I built this, and I'll always say I lived a life like Elvis in the movies. Wow. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd get to the set. You're on the set, you're talking with everybody, getting everything ready, and okay, now we got to get ready. You got a gag here and you got a gag there. Whatever. After the set, everybody's getting off. We're going to meet you at the restaurant later. Everybody goes to the restaurant and eats. And then after that, everybody goes to the clubs,
sure.
Which I would sing at the clubs.
Wow.
So it was just like Elvis. Elvis would get in the car, wake up in the morning, get in the car, race the car, win the race, go to the club, sing to the girl.
Wow.
And that's what I was doing. And we were having a blast. Then I started my own movie production company, Crystal Pyramid.
Can you believe we're going to run out of time?
I can't believe it.
Are you going to come back?
If you want me back, I'd love to come back. This was a great experience.
Can we do like a second, we'll do part A, part B?
Sure, because where's the camera? I promise it'll get better.
No, I'm totally enthralled. I cannot believe this hour went. That's why this show is so much fun for me.
It was a fun experience, and we lived our life over again, which was so great.
That's right. I really thank you for being here, for
thank
being
you
a great Brooklyn boy, and help me throw this out. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon.
Good night.